My opponent untaps. These are creatures as an enchantment. 3 plains and a forest. Upkeep, nothing requires upkeep, draw. He will go ahead and play a land during his main phase. He's going to go ahead and say that he's going to declare attackers, and he's going to swing. And I'm at 8 life, so I am going to block. Do I want to? Okay, no, I can't. I can't afford to take. He attack for 4 plus. He attack for 4 plus 3. That would leave me at 1 life. No, I have to block. My guy, when he blocks, because he has Bushido, he gets +1/+1, so he becomes a 3/3. I'm blocking a 4/3. They exchange lethal damage, and this will hit me for 3 because I have no blocker to block him. So I go from 8 to 5. And these cards both took lethal damage. They go to the graveyard. And he played a special land that he may pay 1 and discard from his hand, but it comes into play tapped. But he will also pay 1 white, and he has another one actually. So let's go ahead and see what he's doing here. He's paying 1 white to use the ability on the card. And it says you may pay 1 white, discard this card from your hand, and draw a card. So when you discard a card, it goes to the graveyard, and he draws a card. That ability is known as cycling. Okie dokie. And he attacked. The second main, he doesn't have anything that he wants to play for 3 mana. He will end his turn. I untap. I upkeep. No upkeep. I draw. Okay, I do have a land that I want to play this turn, but it is a special land. So the question is, how do I want to do this? Yeah, I think I want to do that. I think the Samurai deck might be able to take a lead here. Alright, I will tap 2 plains to generate 1 white and 1 colorless. I have not played a land yet during my main phase. I'm going to play a creature instead, and this creature has Bushido 1. It is a 1/2. And as long as I control a legendary samurai, so as long as its creature type has human, this is a human samurai, as long as it has its super type is legendary creature, and as long as it has a samurai, this creature will become a 2/4 with Bushido 1. And for all those who are unfamiliar with Bushido, it's again, if it blocks or becomes blocked, it gets Bushido 1 in this case, and so it gets +1/+1. Now, I will now get into that special land that I'm going to play, because I did it a certain way so that I am going to get the most out of my mana. Boros Garrison. Instead of tapping for 1 mana like most land do, this one taps for a red and a white. But it has a caveat. Its drawback is that when Boros Garrison comes into play, I must return a land to my hand. So I don't really get the benefit of just playing a land right out of the blue that taps for 2 and comes into play tapped. I have to actually return a land. Now, it doesn't specify whether you have to return a used land or an unused land, and so the idea is to basically use up your land before you return it. And so I'm going to go ahead and return the 1 white mana that I actually did use. And Boros Garrison comes into play. It taps for 2 though. And I am still trying to catch my breath. My opponent's at 20. I'm at 5. I am definitely in the worst board position. And so I'm going to go ahead and end it and let my opponent take his or her turn. He'll untap. total of 5 land for a total of possible 5 mana. He or she will draw. He's going to go ahead and play a forest. No, in this particular deck I don't think he's going to play a forest. He's going to go ahead and attack, because he's got a 3/4 and I only have a 1/2. And this time I'm going to get tricky. Remember that Ethereal Haze I talked about? I do not want to take the 3 damage since I'm at, 5 life. That'll leave me at 2 life. But I do have an untapped Ujano Castle, that special one that tapped for 1 white. So I will tap it and play a card. I'm playing a card that is not my turn. And you can never do anything during an opponent's turn except use card abilities and play an instance. So instance is a card type, and that's what this is. So I have not violated the rules by doing something not during my turn. And then it says prevent all damage that would be dealt by creatures this turn. Normally that veteran infantry would deal 3 damage to me, since it's a 1/2 that gets a +2/+2 bonus from the Muraganda Petroglyphs, but this time it's going to deal no damage. All combat damage is prevented. All damage that would be dealt by creatures, that is. So that spell resolves. It goes to the graveyard. It's not a permanent. It doesn't stick around. Instants and sorceries are spells, and they do not count as permanents. They go away. My opponent kind of huffs. He's a little bit disappointed that he didn't kill my creature. But second main, you can still do things after your combat phase. He will play a Spined Worm, which costs 1 green and 4 of something else. And he fulfilled that. It is a 5/4. Look at that. That means with the Muraganda Petroglyph bonus, since it has no abilities, this is just italicized text, flavor text, it will become a 7/6. That is a beefy creature right there. A 7/6. That is not fun. I don't know. Maybe I thought too far ahead where I thought I might be able to come back. Okay, but second main, after that is end step. He ends his phase. I untap. I didn't lose any tempo by playing the Boros Garrison, because I did return a land that I'd already used. So it was just acting as my land drop. I will play the Plains. I have access to 6 mana. And I will tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 white and 5 of something else. And I will play a Legendary Samurai. The importance of this is that he will become a 2/4 now. Takeno. Samurai General. Legendary creature, human samurai, Bushido 2. It is a 3/3, but it has each other samurai I control gets a +1/+1 for each Bushido that it has. So he'll remain a 3/3. But my Kondo's Hamato will get an extra +1/+1. So instead of being a 2/4, it'll be a 3/5 with Bushido 1. So if it becomes blocked or is blocked, it gets an additional +1/+1. Alrighty. I am my turn. My opponent untaps. I'm going to probably need blockers. No cards require upkeep. He draws. And, yeah. My opponent is going to attack with a 7/6 and a 3/4. So this guy has Bushido 2. So he can attack the 3/4. He'll become a 5/5 and he will do 5 damage to the 3/4. The 3/4 will do 3 damage to the 5/5. My legendary samurai will live, but the veteran militia, voluntary militia, sorry, will die. This guy is a 3/5. He becomes a 4/6. He does not do enough damage to the 7/6 worm, but the 7/6 worm definitely does enough damage to my Amato. So unfortunately, these guys die. The voluntary militia takes lethal damage and goes away. Kamado's Amato dies and goes away. And yeah. So we just got rid of some creatures there. That's all that happened. And I had no mana. I was all tapped out after playing the 6, so I couldn't do anything as far as play spells or instances from my hand. During the second main phase, my opponent plays a... He's going to tap for 4. Sure, double white. 2 white, 2 white. My opponent is going to play another one of these guys, the 3/1 Cat Rebels, the good attackers, not so great blockers, who is actually a 5/3 because it has no abilities, and is also going to play a 2/2 that has no abilities, so it's a 4/4. Paying 2 mana for a 4/4 is great and wonderful. And it's italicized text. It doesn't count as an ability. Alright, so he's just laying down creature after creature. So, and they're summoning sick. Let's go ahead and denote that. Okay. He ends his turn. I untap. I have 5 land, but I can tap for 6. I will draw. One, 2, 3. Is that going to work? I have a trick in my sleeve, so I'm trying to determine. I can use the Janos Castle to prevent some damage that would be dealt to my general. So I could use him as a tank and just take the damage, kill off a creature, prevent a couple of the damage, let him live. I also have this instant that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about this instant, which basically I can untap all the creatures I control, and my samurai will get +1/+1, and so that's a combat trick that I can use to surprise my opponent. And I might be able to kill off a couple creatures, but the problem is that my opponent has 3 creatures on the board, and I only have 1 blocker, so if I don't play a creature, it's not going to matter. I'm going to die. So I can play a creature for 4, I can play a creature for 3. And it just doesn't look like I have enough mana to do both the Janos Castle and the Call of Fury, the instant card in my hand.